Let's be honest. How many times have you spent hours, maybe even days, planning a trip only to feel overwhelmed by the endless list of options, guides, and recommendations that all promise the perfect experience? You're left stressed, stuck in analysis paralysis, and the excitement you once had starts to fade. But what if I told you that the best way to travel isn't by following every rule or getting tangled in the ideal plan? What if I told you the key to stress-free, meaningful travel lies in one simple yet powerful philosophy: pragmatism? Yes, I know you might be thinking, how can a philosophy help me plan my next getaway? Well, stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how embracing pragmatic travel planning can revolutionize your experience. No more overthinking, no more stress, just practical, actionable steps that guarantee you'll make the most of your next adventure. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. Keep watching, because this video isn't just about tips, it's about rethinking the way you travel for good. Number 1. The anti-checklist method. Why over-planning kills adventure. You know what? Sometimes the best plans are the ones you don't make. I know that sounds totally counterintuitive, right? But bear with me for a second. What if I told you that over-planning, that thing we all do when we try to squeeze every minute of our trip into a neat, color-coded checklist, is actually the one thing standing between you and true adventure? Yeah, I'm talking about ditching that rigid itinerary for something a little more spontaneous. Now, I can already hear the skepticism, but I need to know exactly what I'm doing every day. Trust me, I get it. It feels safer to have a plan. But here's the thing, sometimes that plan can be your biggest enemy. We've all been there, right? You've spent hours online, scrolling through guides, asking friends for recommendations, and crafting a perfect itinerary. You're determined to make the most out of every second. But then, reality hits. Your 9 a.m. museum visit turns into a 10:30 brunch because the museum line was ridiculous, and now you're scrambling to make up for lost time. Before you know it, you're rushing from one activity to the next, checking things off the list. But somehow you're missing the essence of what travel is all about: being in the moment. I get it, there's comfort in structure. But is it really helping you live in the now? Here's where it gets interesting: the anti-checklist method. Yep, that's right. Throw away the to-do list and embrace the freedom of less structure. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a rough idea of what you want to see or do. But here's the key: leave room for surprises. Trust me, some of the best travel moments happen when you decide to go off script. And no, this doesn't mean wandering aimlessly, hoping to stumble upon something good, though honestly, sometimes it works. What I mean is, you give yourself the freedom to follow your instincts instead of a rigid list. You make space for the unexpected encounters, the small detours, and the conversations with locals that you'd never planned for in advance. Let me paint you a picture. Last year I went to Italy with a very tight itinerary. Of course, I had everything mapped out, from the must-see sites to the restaurants I had to try. But then, one afternoon, while walking through Rome's cobblestone streets, I found myself in a little cafe tucked in a corner. No signs, no reviews. It was just there. I sat down, ordered a cappuccino, and struck up a conversation with the barista, who ended up being from my hometown. It sounds like a cliché, right? But that moment, that unexpected connection, changed the entire vibe of the trip. I ended up spending the next few hours just chatting and wandering the streets nearby, completely off the grid. I didn't check anything off a list that day, and yet I felt more alive than I did on the days I had planned. Here's the kicker: by letting go of my need to control every detail, I was able to create real, authentic memories. I wasn't worried about falling behind schedule or missing the next tourist attraction. I was just living. This is about reclaiming your adventure, your peace, and your ability to truly experience a destination for what it is, not what your checklist says it should be. Travel is all about moments. It's about feeling the place you're in, not just passing through it. So here's the challenge. Next time you travel, embrace a little chaos. Let go of the need to have everything figured out. Yes, trust me on this. The anti-checklist method isn't about being irresponsible or disorganized. It's about freeing yourself from the stress of perfection and allowing yourself to experience life as it unfolds. Your adventure isn't in the plans. It's in the moments you didn't see coming. Take a breath, slow down, and let the journey find you. Number 2, minimalist packing for maximum experience. Let's talk about something that seems like a big deal, but trust me, it's not. Packing. You've probably been told 100 times that packing light is the secret to a stress-free trip, but deep down, you're thinking, yeah, right. How can I possibly leave behind that extra pair of shoes or those just-in-case outfits? But hear me out. Minimalist packing isn't just about squeezing everything into a tiny bag. It's about packing for the experience, not the clothes. Trust me, once you embrace this, you'll realize you've been doing it all wrong for years. You know the type. Stuffing your suitcase to the brim with all sorts of outfits for every scenario, just in case you go out for a fancy dinner or need something just in case the weather turns bad. We've all been there. You end up with a massive suitcase that weighs more than you do, and the worst part? You barely even touch half the things you packed. The reality is, you're not going to wear that extra cardigan, and you're definitely not going to need the 5th pair of shoes. But somehow, you keep throwing more and more things in there, thinking you'll be prepared for anything. Spoiler alert, you won't be. You'll just be tired from carrying all that unnecessary baggage, literally and figuratively. So here's the twist. Minimalism is about packing only the essentials, things that will make your life easier, not harder. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of overpacking and choosing experiences over material things. I know it sounds like it'll be impossible, but what if I need it, you might ask? Well, let's be real. Most of what you think you need will just weigh you down. The beauty of minimalist packing is that you can focus on what matters, being present and experiencing your destination. No more stressing over outfit choices or worrying about your bag being overweight. Just pack what you need and trust that the rest will fall into place. I remember a trip I took to Spain a few years ago. I was determined to pack light. No oversized suitcase, no bulging backpack. I packed only 3 pairs of pants, a couple of shirts, and a jacket. At first I felt panicked. What if I needed more? But as soon as I stepped into the airport, I felt free. There was no struggle with dragging a heavy bag, no feeling of being weighed down. And you know what? I didn't miss a single item. I was able to move easily, go on spontaneous adventures, and feel completely unburdened. My focus was on the experiences, not the stuff. I even ended up buying a beautiful scarf at a local market, something I never would have considered if I had been busy thinking about what was in my suitcase. This is more than just a packing strategy, it's a mindset shift. By embracing minimalist packing, you're reclaiming your space, your time, and your peace of mind. You're letting go of the unnecessary so that you can make room for what truly matters, real moments, genuine connections, and unforgettable experiences. Trust me, once you pack with intention, you'll never go back to overstuffed bags and cluttered travel again. It's about feeling lighter, not just physically, but emotionally too. So here's the challenge. Next time you're getting ready for a trip, take a step back and ask yourself, what do I really need? You don't need to bring everything. You need to make space for the memories, the freedom, and the adventure. Minimalist packing isn't just about less stuff. It's about more life. The more you focus on what you truly need, the more you'll realize how much of the clutter was holding you back from fully experiencing the world around you. Your trip, your freedom, and your peace of mind, all packed into one small bag. Number 3, the local's guide to travel. Forget the tourist traps. Here's a little secret. The best travel experiences aren't found in glossy travel guides or the overhyped tourist spots everyone tells you to visit. They're hidden in plain sight, tucked away in the places most people skip. Now, I know what you're thinking. But I've got to see the Eiffel Tower, or the Colosseum is a must. I get it. I've been there, ticking off the must-see landmarks, feeling like I'm doing it all right. But what if I told you that those well-worn tourist paths are actually the easiest way to miss the real essence of a place? We've all been there. You arrive in a new city, excited to explore, and before you know it, you're standing in a crowded line outside some overpriced attraction, fighting for space with thousands of other people. You're checking off your list, snapping photos of the obvious spots, but you're not really experiencing the heart of the place. It's like you're just passing through, not truly connecting with what makes that place unique. And let's be honest, how many times have you gotten to the must-see location only to realize that it was overrated or that you barely had time to breathe because of the crowds? So here's where it gets interesting. The local's guide to travel. Forget the tourist traps. Yes, you heard me right. Forget the iconic, over-commercialized spots that everyone tells you to visit. Instead, lean into the places locals actually go to, the spots that don't make it to Instagram feeds but are full of soul. You'll find that the best cafes, the most stunning views, and the most genuine cultural experiences are all in the places where the crowds don't go. The beauty is, you don't even need to have all the insider knowledge. You just need to ask the right people. Think about it. Instead of wasting your time on the touristy stuff, you could spend your day wandering through hidden neighborhoods, discovering hole-in-the-wall restaurants that serve the best food you've ever had, and chatting with people who aren't trying to sell you something. The reason this works so well is that the local spots are where the true spirit of a place lives. It's in the small interactions, the local markets, and the forgotten corners of the city. And here's the kicker. It's all way more affordable than the tourist traps, and you get an experience that's 100 times more authentic. I remember this one trip I took to Tokyo. I was all set to see the typical tourist spots. Shibuya Crossing, the big temples, all that. But something shifted when I asked a local barista about a good spot for lunch. She sent me to this little ramen shop, tucked away in an alley, far from the busy streets. It was the real deal, simple, comforting, and far more flavorful than anything I'd have found in the tourist-heavy areas. We ended up chatting with the chef, learning about the ingredients, and hearing his story. It was far from the touristy hustle, and honestly, it was the best part of the trip. I'd never have found that place without skipping the must-sees and trusting the locals instead. This is about reclaiming your space. Space for adventure, for discovery, and for real connection. The locals know where the magic happens. You just have to ask. It's about embracing the idea that the most memorable travel moments don't come from following the crowd. They come from stepping off the beaten path and allowing yourself to experience the true, unscripted essence of a place. So here's the challenge. Next time you travel, ditch the overhyped tourist spots. Ask the people who live there, where do you go when you want to escape the crowds? Trust me, they'll send you to places that will make your trip unforgettable. Forget the tourist traps. Find the spots that only the locals know. Because your trip isn't about the checklist, it's about the journey, the people, and the moments you can't plan. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting in the hidden corners of the world. Go find them. Number 4, Tech Detox. How disconnecting enhances your travel experience. Here's a truth that might hit a little too close to home. The more connected we get, the more we feel disconnected. I know, it sounds counterintuitive, right? How can being connected to everything all the time make us feel like we're missing out? But trust me, this is exactly what happens when we let our tech take over our travel experience. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "I'm never giving up my phone," hear me out. There's a little secret that could completely transform the way you travel, and it's called the tech detox. Yes, unplugging. It's not as scary as it sounds. In fact, it might just be the best thing you can do for your next trip. We've all been there. You're on a beautiful beach, staring at the crystal clear waters, but instead of soaking in the view, you're checking Instagram to see if your latest post got any likes. You're in a bustling city, experiencing a whole new culture, but your attention is divided between snapping the perfect photo and replying to emails. It's like you're physically present, but mentally, you're still stuck in the digital world. And let's face it, how many times have you looked back on a trip and realized that the memories you made were mostly photos on your phone? Sound familiar? The truth is, we're so addicted to our devices that we often miss the very essence of the places we're visiting. Now, imagine this. What if you went on a trip and decided to completely disconnect? No checking emails, no scrolling through your feed, no constant checking for Wi-Fi. You might be thinking, how will I survive? But here's the thing, by disconnecting, you're actually connecting with your surroundings. You'll engage more deeply with the people you meet, appreciate the small moments that make a destination special, and truly immerse yourself in the experience without distractions. It's not about avoiding technology altogether, it's about using it in a way that enhances your travel, not detracts from it. I tried this on a recent trip to Italy. I had been obsessively planning my days, checking reviews, getting the best restaurant recommendations, even ensuring I had the perfect photo spots lined up. But on the second day, I decided to leave my phone behind. No maps, no list of must-sees. Just me, my curiosity, and the streets of Florence. I walked through neighborhoods I would have never visited otherwise, had spontaneous conversations with locals, and discovered hidden gems that no guidebook could have ever pointed me to. The best part? I actually remembered everything because I wasn't focused on capturing it for the gram or worried about whether I was doing it right. It was just pure, unfiltered experience. Here's what happens when you embrace a tech detox. You start to reclaim your time, your presence, and your peace. It's no longer about how many likes you get or how many photos you can post. It's about what's in front of you in that very moment. The true magic of travel isn't in the pictures you take. It's in the feelings you experience, the connections you make, and the memories you create. And believe me, these are the things that stick with you long after your trip is over. So, here's your challenge. Next time you travel, try a little experiment. Leave your phone in the hotel for a couple of hours. Disconnect from social media, from work emails, and from the constant flow of information. Focus on the sights, the sounds, and the people around you. You'll be amazed at how much more you notice, how much richer your experience becomes, and how much lighter you feel. Tech detox isn't just about turning off your devices. It's about turning on your life. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting in those moments of pure connection. All you have to do is unplug to plug into something real. Number 5, budget first, luxury later, the power of low-cost, high-impact travel. Here's a little secret that might surprise you. Luxury doesn't have to come with a hefty price tag. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the thing. What if I told you that you can experience the thrill of travel without breaking the bank and still have moments that feel luxurious? I know. When we think of travel, we immediately picture fancy hotels, expensive dinners, and private tours. But what if I told you that the real magic happens when you prioritize your budget first and let the luxury follow naturally? Yes, trust me on this. We've all been there. You're scrolling through Instagram, looking at these jaw-dropping travel photos thinking, I'll never be able to afford that. Or, how can they go on these trips and stay in such incredible places? And then we start feeling defeated, assuming that real travel experiences are only for those who can splurge on luxury. But here's the catch. Luxury travel isn't about throwing money at every single aspect of your trip. It's about smart choices, prioritizing what really matters, and letting go of the pressure to follow the crowd. Now let's break it down. What if I told you that by starting with a solid budget, you could unlock even better experiences, ones that you'd never get if you just went straight for the luxury route? Think about it. When you focus on budget-friendly options, you get to explore more, stay in places that are packed with character, and enjoy local experiences that are genuinely unforgettable. You can use the extra savings to treat yourself to a few indulgent experiences, whether it's a fancy dinner, a beautiful sunset cruise, or even a unique activity that's off the beaten path. That's where the true luxury lies. Let me give you a real-life example. On a recent trip to Barcelona, I decided to embrace this budget-first, luxury-later mindset. I started by booking a simple, budget-friendly Airbnb in a local neighborhood. It wasn't the five-star hotel with a rooftop pool, but it was cozy, clean, and within walking distance of all the major attractions. Instead of splurging on overpriced tourist meals, I grabbed delicious fresh meals from local food markets. Think grilled seafood and crispy croissants for a fraction of the cost. But here's the magic. By keeping my costs low, I was able to splurge on a once-in-a-lifetime experience, an authentic flamenco show with front-row seats. It was intimate, cultural, and worth every penny, and I felt like I was living the luxury life even though I hadn't spent a fortune. The truth is, I didn't need the luxury hotel room to have a luxurious experience. It came from the moments that truly mattered. Here's the beauty of this approach. It gives you the emotional freedom to truly enjoy your trip. When you know you're not overspending or stressing over your finances, you can relax and fully dive into the experience. It's no longer about keeping up with the latest travel trends or trying to prove something to anyone. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity on your own terms. You're traveling on your budget, which means your choices are guided by what makes you happy, not what's expected or what's luxurious in the traditional sense. That's the power of low-cost, high-impact travel. It's personal, meaningful, and most importantly, empowering. So, next time you plan a trip, remember this: you don't need to drop a ton of cash to create an experience that feels amazing. Prioritize your budget, make conscious choices, and watch how luxury follows naturally. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting for you in those real, authentic experiences. When you do it this way, travel isn't about the price tag, it's about the impact. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you see travel planning in a whole new light and gave you some practical tools to make your next trip smoother and more enjoyable. If you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps out. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our future videos. If you know someone who's always stressing over travel plans, share this video with them. I'm sure they'll appreciate the fresh perspective. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, so feel free to drop a comment below and share your own experiences or any tips you have for pragmatic travel planning. Let's keep the conversation going and build a community of like-minded travelers. Remember, travel isn't about perfection. It's about embracing the journey and making it work for you. So take a deep breath, trust the process, and get ready to explore the world with a little more ease and a lot more freedom. Until next time.